Ahoy! Not too long ago I talked about territory changes, and you may be somewhat familiar with something like this statistic here, so to speak. This is the new territory distribution for income from all territories together. So what is going to happen, for those of you who haven't watched that other video, is that all of the income is going to be pooled together from all towns, and it's going to be redistributed with these different percentages that you can see here. Assuming everything is upgraded to maximum, 39, you'll see this split that we're having right here. But we have a lot of extra information now about this topic, so I wanted to go through this article that was posted today as a rather quick video, I would say, because I have a lot to do this weekend, but I wanted to cover this at least a little bit because it does answer a lot of the questions that came up after that very video. So let's start with what Luxandra is writing here. Territory management in New World has a number of facets, all of which we are monitoring and evaluating. While we have a lot more changes planned to come, today we want to break down some changes we are looking to implement for part 1 of territory management revamp. So this is just the first bit, okay? The rewards. Currently, rewards for territory management function as follows. Companies own territories and set tax rates. Players spend or do activities in the territories that provide taxes at the set rate that goes to a ledger. The ledger pays out the company that owns the territory at a set interval. There are a lot of good things about the system, blah, 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 and not really important. But what they said is, or what they're saying in the next part here is that we're seeing various changes that have been done since this system was originally implemented, such as items being movable between towns without paying a fee, cheaper fast traveling, and more storage from chests especially, but more storage per larger town where you have a house basically, and trading post being a global thing, whereas once upon a time it used to be separate trading posts. That was a very interesting change. So, in the original design, players were a lot more spread out, selling resources mostly at the trading posts in territories where they were collecting them. With the changes made to more easily transfer items between towns, players are primarily congregating in Everfall and Windswood to sell these resources, resulting in higher income in these centralized territories. Makes a lot of sense. Since the inputs to the system change, it's time to change the outputs. We spent a lot of time going over the data for the coin rewards for territories and wanted to share some of it with you. We took a look at the total coin reward for territories across the worlds in New World and found some distinct universal patterns. The biggest takeaway is that Windswood and Everfall are the most valuable territories to hold in terms of coin payout weekly across all worlds. With that in mind, here are some of our initial thoughts on how territory management could improve. We want to more evenly distribute the coin that is currently flowing through Everfall and Windswood. We want to redistribute coin rewards from Everfall and Windswood to other territories to make them more valuable. We want to incentivize good territory management, like leveling up stations and defending the territory from invasions. We feel, as players, there will always be some territories that are more appealing than others, and that's a healthy part of the game. Rather than fight against that, we like to see a more equitable distribution of coin rewards from territories. We're looking to accomplish the following goals. Distribute gold between all territories more equitably, so that owners of Everfall and Windswood don't run away in power. Distribute gold to smaller towns to make them more valuable and have more territories worth fighting for. Give territory owners strong incentives to level up and maintain town levels. And they're kind of not mentioning it here again, but obviously also still keep certain territories more valuable than others. To reach these goals, we will be making a few changes. On high population servers, Windswood and Everfall account for approximately 20% of the coin payouts from these territories each, so 40% in total. We'd like to introduce a system that adjusts them closer to 12.5%, or each of them 12.5% of the total payout. We'll pool all the income earned across all territories on a world, then distribute a percentage of it to each governing company. The percentage amount is based on the territory level and its town level. To that end, the percentage of coin paid will be tiered as follows. And on the PTR, there was these higher tiers above 39. Those are not there anymore. So this is basically the highest you can go right now. The full split is at level 39 territory upgrade. So I think that is fully upgraded territory. And the less upgrades you have, the lower your split gets. And you see down here, like if you have a completely unupgraded town, you're looking at 0% or 1%. So you definitely want to keep your town upgraded if you want to have the full split. Now you may be asking, why are the percentages trending similarly in value to their current coin rewards? Why not make territories with gypsum kilns more valuable or distribute the rewards equally? Simply put, you, the players, have dedicated millions of hours to New World, and your territory standing and rewards reflect your time spent in Windswood and Everfall, making them the primary market hubs on most worlds. We expect them to remain the primary market hubs and continue to generate the most taxes moving forward. We'll of course continue monitoring this and make changes if needed. I think Brimstone is mentioned here as well, right? Because obviously people have their territory spent, their territory points spent in the areas where they craft, where they gather potentially, and that type of stuff is factored in here, as they say. But Brimstone Sands will obviously be the next territory where that's the case. Like, everyone will grind a fair bit of standing in Brimstone Sands because they're going to quest through that, and it's going to be a strong trading hub anyways because it has perfectly aligned or set up crafting stations. So yeah, it's going to be the new Windswood, so to speak. Only that Windswood is going to be less valuable anyway, so it makes sense that it's on the same split. And everything else is a little bit lower than that. Again, Monarch's Bluff, I said that last time, I think is high because they're expecting more people to go there after the change. I would assume, even though it's not mentioned here. With the payouts for territories changing, it follows that the upkeep cost should be reviewed as well. We found two problems. Upkeep costs were not linear. There would be breakpoints that incentivize territory owners to not increase the town level to the detriment of all players on the world. With the changes in territory revenue levels, some territories in lower population worlds would not see profits at all past a certain town level. So, by making the upkeep scale linearly with the territory rewards, the incentive remains balanced through all the levels, making it always the right choice to level up the territory to everyone's benefit. To that end, we are adjusting the upkeep costs as follows. So we have the 5% reward here. The current upkeep is 190,000, and then the new upkeep will be 95,000. So we have 50% of the cost. But if you go to the territories that are getting more gold, then their cost goes up more. So in the case of Windswood, for example, the new cost would be 237,500, which is an increase in total cost to 125% of the original cost. Still not a big deal because they're also making a fair bit more, obviously, because they're still making more than double of what the lowest tier territories make. These costs will now scale linearly with the town level. As an example, for 10% reward tier territories, Brightwood, Monarchs, blah, 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 these are the new upkeep costs. So you can see here currently level 1 is 200. Then now it will be 9,500. But then as it progresses, we see a linear increase. I don't think I need to explain this further. Which really means you want to keep things maxed. Like at max, the cost would be exactly the same. As you can see here, this is the 10% split, so it makes nothing actually changes. Before that, you will always pay more now. And obviously, at max, you also get the biggest payout. Finally, we have locked all tax rates for all territories for the following. Housing tax adjusted from 0.1% minimum to 1% maximum to 1% both minimum and maximum. I don't exactly know how this will play out because I think pretty much every territory already has that set to max at the moment. So on my side at least. So this wouldn't really make a difference. So 1% is still very, very low. Remember that the town tax used to be, or the housing tax used to be way, way, way higher, and they reduced that massively. It was first because of a compensation type of thing where they basically doubled the money coming from it, and then they just kind of left it there because people liked it. So that one's getting an upwards adjustment, but it's still a very, very low percentage overall. The crafting tax is adjusted from 0.5 times the minimum to 3 times maximum to now 0.5 times both minimum and maximum. The refining tax adjusted from 0.5 to 3 times to also both 0.5 minimum and maximum. And the trade tax is adjusted from 2.5% minimum to 25% max to 2.5% both minimum and maximum. So except for housing tax, they all take the lowest value here. We have been looking at the data around coin payouts for territories and feel confident that this will bring the rewards for ownership of the top tier territories down slightly while increasing the value of all other territories proportionally. The intended result is that on the current and new worlds, the balance of coin distributed weekly is more equitable equitable across a number of companies versus the current concentration that we see today. Thank you for all the feedback you've provided regarding territories. This is the first of a few revisions we have coming to improve territory management. We know that, for example, the Shell company thing is coming as well. And this year is basically necessary. People were pointing this out in my comments last time, because otherwise every company would just set this to maximum, because there would not be a downside anymore under the new system, because people will just craft somewhere else, but you get more money for it in your town, which makes zero sense. So obviously they had to do something about that. And I think locking it at these prices is fine. What this takes away is obviously like a little bit of the financial management side that I guess some people would enjoy, but I think the number of people who did not enjoy getting on the bad end of that one is much larger than the number of people who enjoyed that, so I think it's okay. What's also a bit unfortunate is that means that there's really no reason anymore to specifically like trade in a town your company owns, I guess. You would still get faction bonus stuff, so if there are if there are multiple territories owned by faction, then it doesn't really make a big difference. So I guess that's like a minor thing, but overall I think it's a much better system. Now there are a few extra bits of information, FAQ, we can go through that as well. I'm in a company that owns Windsward. Does this new model mean owning it will no longer be as lucrative? Yes, that is intended. Some territory rewards are too far out of line with others. Again, due to the initial design components of the system changing, the output should change as well to balance the territory rewards. What this means is it will still be more income to hold certain territories versus other territories, but the previously undervalued territories will become more valuable to hold. We're hoping to balance the value of holding territories with this change. If your alliance of companies currently owns Windsward and First Light, you'd be making approximately 24.7% of the coin distributed through territory pay that pays out each week. In the new system, you'd be making 17.5%. I think this is good, right? I think that at the moment, like, you have territories that, if the week goes well enough, can basically almost put a company bank at their gold cap. So yeah, let's not have that. Because it just gets so hard for the companies that are not holding Windsward Everfall to ever catch up, because you're just fighting against someone who was at some point already better than you, and even if they're not now, then they would still have the advantage of having a ton of extra money that can gear the entire company. I see Brimstone Sands as a higher tier territory in this model. Will this change over time? The system also allows us to adjust whenever a new territory is released or if trends emerge in the game, as you can see with the addition of Brimstone Sands in the chart. We monitor the results of these changes and update the percentages as needed. So that's great too, even though I think some people will like crafting in Brimstone Sands, like me included. Why are these changes coming now? While these have been being worked on for a while, we wanted to ensure the system was in place before Fresh Start Worlds. We have heard you that the income from territories such as Everfall and Windsward earned by their owning companies feels like they put these companies significantly ahead of other players. By introducing this system before Fresh Start Worlds, we hope to make the initial territory scramble more equitable. It was obvious that if we did not make these changes in time, owning Windsward and Everfall would be a significant advantage for the first weeks, while higher level territories waited for more player traffic. So I think these are good changes. As I said in the previous version already, I think it's great, and I like that they clarified now the other part as well, that you can't just cheat around the system and your territory makes way more money that way. And I like that this is going to make a lot more smaller companies, or like weaker companies that own like fringe territories, more competitive in the long run, because at least they can gear up better. That's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to check out some more New World videos, I have a great SLOTH DPS video and a bunch of other stuff that I'll link right here. See you for the next one soon. Sloth out.